We got fights this weekend.
We got
boys.
a lot of. Oh yeah, let's talk about the fights this weekend. So,
shit. Who's fighting this weekend?
so we got
Hmm.
Daniel. No, I'm
Daniel.
sorry,
Well,
Daniel.
I thought
Daniel.
Donald.
I thought you were gonna say DC, and I was like, just
Imagine
now telling
DC
me?
came out of nowhere. Donald Cerrone and
Cowboy
Justin
and
Gaethje.
Justin Gaethje.
It's gonna be a terrific fight.
I love Gaethje.
Oh, me too.
What do you love about Justin Gaethje?
Justin Gaethje. No, you guys, honestly, like, just from you guys talking about him and like some of like the amazing things you say about him. Again, I haven't seen most fighters.
Well,
so
I
I'm
haven't said
super-
amazing things about it. I'm sure it's Kelvin.
Yeah, no, Kelvin's for sure gassed up Justin Gaethje,
Mhm.
and I don't know the other dude, so I'm gonna say I love Justin Gaethje.
Yeah. So here's the thing. So we got Cowboy versus Justin, right?
Yep.
There's a plethora of reasons to favor Cowboy in this fight, right? Justin is a really down to earth, honest guy, and he was talking about him training with Cowboy back in the day, right?
Okay.
And he even admitted that Cowboy dropped him back then, right? So he said that they were training and Cowboy dropped him. Also, Cowboy is a veteran. He's been in the game for a long time. We know that Justin gets hit, and Donald is an exemplary striker, right? So I can see there's a lot of people picking Cowboy, and I could totally see why. But I feel like this is not a good fight for Cowboy.
I don't think so either. I think Justin Gaethje reminds me of Tony Ferguson and how they fight. They
Okay.
love to go to war.
Yes.
And the first 3 fights, was it 3 fights for Justin Gaethje? Or how
Mhm.
many fights has he fought in the UFC
I
so
think
far?
this will be his 5th fight.
Okay, so the first couple fights, they were wars,
Yep.
right? The guy's just bloodied up, right? Fucking war, basically. And Tony's that type of guy who likes to go to war. I don't think that is a good matchup for Cerrone, who gets cut up very easily.
Yeah. So I'll break it down why I think this is a bad matchup for him. So there's a lot of things that don't exist, right?
Mhm.
Like the Tooth Fairy and Santa Claus. Another thing that doesn't
So
exist.
you say,
Another thing that doesn't exist is a boring Justin Gaethje fight.
oh,
This
absolutely
dude-
not.
This dude, oh my God, he's
You
just
have
like
to see this fight,
he's
Manny.
just
for sure. I'm
It's
not
gonna
missing
be a
it.
he's
crazy
just what
fight.
you want out of a fighter. Like, obviously, it's not fun to get hit, right? So when you see two fighters that you really want to see
Yeah.
exchange, and they're standing in the middle of the octagon and they're just figuring each other out, right? The just fan in you just wants to say, just fucking hit each other already. You know what I mean?
And Justin Gaethje's
Justin
going to bring
Gaethje's
it.
not that fighter.
No, he's going to
Justin
bring
Gaethje's
it.
coming at you.
Yep.
And he does not care if he gets hit. He gets hit. So there's a stat. Justin Gaethje, I believe, has the highest amount of absorbed strikes per minute
Yeah.
in the history of the UFC.
He's just a guy that loves to scrap.
Which is amazing.
Right?
And we know people like that. Like they don't care. All right, hit me, I'm gonna hit you back.
Justin Gaethje will fight you in a phone booth.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, and he's obviously got power, right?
Yeah.
And we were talking about kicks earlier with Edson Barboza. Justin Gaethje has horrible fucking kicks. His kicks will he'll kick his way through a fucking car. Like
Right.
that dude, it's crazy, right? I mean, earlier when we were talking about his fight with Dustin, he was beating Dustin's legs to a pulp. It's gross, right? So the fact that Justin walks forward so much, he can take a hit and he will punish you with his legs, with his hands, right? The way I see Cowboy fight a lot more is he's a veteran, right? Cowboy knows that if he stands there, dissects you, he can pick you apart, right? If you're going to stand at distance with Cowboy, stand there and try to figure each other out, Cowboy's probably going to figure you out first, and he's going to start putting it on you, right?
Mm-hmm.
But Cowboy's not necessarily a constant pressure fighter. He's not. He comes from a kickboxing background. He's comfortable just standing there, figuring out and picking his shots.
Right.
And we've seen him not do well with pressure fighters before.
Right.
You watch his fight versus Darren Till, and Darren Till melted Cowboy.
Yeah.
All he had to do was move forward, not stop throwing, and Cowboy slowly.
Isn't that crazy? Cowboy, was that a fight at 170?
It was at 170.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And he just melted, right? So in my opinion, this is that Darren Till fight.
Yeah.
But at 155, and with a guy that, in my opinion,
to be
lands
fair
more
though,
damage.
going against Darren Till, he's technically a 185er.
Yeah, I mean,
So he
is.
fought such a heavier guy.
Well, Justin's not a small guy.
I know, but I mean to compare him to Darren Till, I mean,
He's a 5'11" lightweight. Like, it's a big dude.
but what does he walk around as?
Justin Gaethje?
Yes.
I'd imagine. I think he put this out there somewhere, but if I'm not mistaken, he blows up to like 185.
So Darren Till walks around over 200 easily.
Yeah.
So
Especially if you've seen
crazy.
pictures
but
of
I
him right
get
now.
I get
Yeah.
the point there that you're
Yeah.
trying to make.
Okay, so but long story short, and I'll eat my crow if I have to, right?
The fuck
out of-
does that mean?
You don't know what eating crow means? Like when
Teach
you
'em.
when
I
you
eat ass.
when you when you predict something when you predict something and you feel really strongly about it and you're like confident like this is going to happen and then it doesn't happen and people were like, oh, what now, right? Like the fact that you just have to accept it and like, you know, work your way through. Like for example, earlier I had picked Dustin to win, he didn't, right?
This Poirier.
Dustin, yeah.
Okay.
Dustin. But so I'll eat my crow if I have to, but I think Justin really hurts Cowboy. I think he finishes him, and I think it's like questionable what Cowboy does after this fight.
No. I don't think
Okay.
that's a crazy a crazy thought. No.
You had that look on your face.
I don't like that's definitely doable. Like that can happen.
Mm-hmm.
Cowboy getting knocked out. So same thing. I agree. I think Justin's gonna win this fight.
Yep.
But I'm gonna be rooting for Cowboy.
Okay.
Cause like he's on this journey and he's been in the UFC for such a long time,
Yep.
and he's right there in the rankings and he's been wanting to get this title shot, and I'm rooting for him. I want him to win. I want him to see him get another jab at Tony or whoever he needs to get before he gets a title shot. So
The most unfortunate thing though is I haven't been watching UFC for that long.
okay,
It's probably been
don't
barely-
feel bad because I
No, of
just started
course.
watching it. This is my second year already.
No, I don't think I'm up on a year yet because this guy kind of put me on. But my first time seeing Cowboy fight was Bryson Till. So,
Oh, Darren Till?
or Darren Till.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Darren Till, yeah.
And you know, that's happened to most of the fighters that you guys talk really highly about. I just see one of their worst fights ever.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
Francis Ngannou, he is garbage. to
Okay,
me.
just to give you all an idea.
That's not because me and him talked about
I probably
that.
hyped
Yeah.
the fight between Derek Lewis and Francis Ngannou more than I've hyped
Way,
anything
and
in my
that was
entire
a
life.
shit show.
But the craziest thing was, I think that was one of my first pay-per-views I've ever watched.
Yeah.
And like going there and then everybody getting hyped for that fight and then them throwing like
Nothing.
They didn't throw anything,
strikes.
bro.
Six
It
strikes
looked
the
like
whole
they didn't
fight.
want to fight.
Derek Lewis throwing head kicks. And then I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, this is the UFC. Okay, cool. Yeah,
Right.
this is what I'm getting into.
Right.
But you know, I've slowly eaten my words. But
Yeah.
for that part, I got Gaethje for sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the poster's sick as shit.
The poster looks nice. Yeah.
So there's a lot of other stuff like that I want to get deep into on this card, but for the sake of time and stuff, we won't. But
Yeah.
a couple things to just mention. We have a fight between Glover Teixeira and Nikita Krylov. I mean, no disrespect to Glover, but the guy is like 39, something like that. Hasn't really given like crazy good performances. He has a finish recently, to his credit, but I think it's safe to say that he's on his way out. And Nikita Krylov, if I'm not mistaken, I mean, I'll double check it, but I'm pretty sure that this man, every single fight that he has ever been in has been a finish, whether he won or lost that fight. How do you not want to watch a guy like that fight? The guy's had like 20-something professional fights. Not one of those has gone to decision. Think about that for a second.
You're saying win or loss.
Win or loss.
Someone got
Interesting.
knocked out.
Somebody got subbed or knocked out.
That's crazy.
Yes. And he came back to the UFC after, hiatus. And he got finished by Misha Serkinov, if I'm not mistaken. Then he goes to fight Ovin St. Preux, who's a tough dude.
OSP.
OSP.
Yep.
Mr.
He's a killer.
OSP.
And he beat OSP with his own submission. He Von Flued OSP.
That's badass.
That's badass. So the fact that Glover's on his way out and that this dude has finished every fight or been finished in every fight, I have to watch this fight. And it's the co-main on this. I think it's going to be a great fight.
Okay.
Also, so a theme that we've had on this show is that we'll talk about a fight that is kind of being overlooked because there's more hype about other fights, but they're fights that need to be paid attention to, right? So one of the fights that comes to mind was Jeff Neal versus Nico Price. We talked about that one being like a sleeper, right? My sleeper for this card is Uriah Hall versus Antonio Carlos Jr. I think that this is going to be a sick-ass fight because we all know what Uriah Hall can do on the feet, and we all know what Antonio Carlos can do on the ground. And I'm so interested in seeing what kind of blend of chaos from those two worlds we get out of this fight. I don't think either of these two dudes are boring fighters. Both of them need a win right now. I think it's going to be a great, great fight.
I'll definitely be keeping an eye out for that fight.
Absolutely.
Also, Todd Duffy, shout out to Duffman. He makes his return after 4 years onto this card. I feel
Interesting.
really bad for this guy. He's a heavyweight. was on he was fighting a couple of good fights, and then this poor bastard has literally been one injury after another.
Yeah.
He had one really horrible injury that took like a year's worth of rehabilitation. Finally got ready. He gets booked for a fight, gets injured. Rehabs for like 6 months, gets booked for another fight, got injured, and this has literally been happening for 4 years. He makes his return this weekend.
We'll see. We'll see how he comes back on.
And then Misha
what else you got?
Serkinov versus Jimmy Crute wraps up that division. I think Misha Serkinov needs a fight to show that he still belongs in the division, and Jimmy Crute is on his way up. He has, in my opinion, shows that he belongs in the division, but we'll see exactly where he belongs after this fight. So excited to see that also.